Is the LG C1 OLED the best gaming monitor in the world? In my opinion, yes it is. And I'm gonna tell you why. You see, I love QD OLED. It is far superior, not even close. When it comes to picture quality, colors, screen uniformity, huge difference. I mean, this LG C1 in comparison looks disgusting when it comes to screen uniformity, the white balance, the way a full white screen looks. It was heartbreaking for me to go back to this LG C1. I can see now a lot of defects that were not bothersome to me before. So QD OLED is a far superior technology, and it is not even close. Actually, my reaction turning on this LG C1 after month. This has been used in one of the rooms for Netflix, just streaming. So I haven't used the LG C1 in a while, and I've been like QD OLED monitor, QD OLED TV, awesome. I turned this on, and my reaction was no. I was saying no again and again. I was like no. Because I was thinking, G5 is gonna be very bright. Excited to see the improvements. I want to go to the store. I would love to get the G5 back home and test it. And I know the 4-stack and all of that, but it's still a WRGB OLED, and I can see the uniformity difference. It's so big. I'm telling you, I don't believe I would be happy with a G5. Yes, it's going to be very bright. So the thing is, we need to learn to appreciate what every display can do the best. And what I really appreciate, and the reason why I'm telling you, in my opinion, this LG C1 is the best gaming monitor in the world, is the motion clarity. When using this feature that LG calls OLED Motion Pro. Now, why the LG C1? Why not the G5? Well, because the G5 doesn't have this feature, unfortunately. Okay, it would be a no-brainer. Okay, I would buy the G5. Okay, of course not right now, because the TVs get this deeply discounted after a while, but I would definitely buy it. When the price goes down, definitely. If the G5 had this feature, OLED Motion Pro, it would be a no-brainer, because it could be even better at 165 hertz. It would be insane, being so bright. I mean, it would be a must-buy. Okay, even when it is not QD OLED, screen uniformity and colors, it's not going to be even close. But the motion clarity, when using this feature on the LG C1, it's like 2.6x. So you get 120 FPS like I'm getting on this game right now, but the game looks like if I was playing it with my 1440p 360 hertz gaming monitor. And you might think, well, why don't you just use that? Well, that's awesome, but it's a 27-inch screen. Size matters. Okay? And the other reason is 360 FPS is very difficult to get because of the CPU. Okay, I have a 5090. Right now, I'm getting 120 FPS. The game is maxed out with DLSS quality, transformer model, so it looks absolutely amazing. And my 5090 is at 54%. Okay? So my 5090 could easily give me 360 FPS on my 1440p QD OLED monitor. Well, my CPU, most likely, maybe it will, but not on every game. Definitely not. So as the thing, with the LG C1, you can get a 360 OLED 4K experience at just 120 FPS, which is Very possible, very possible in many games, even right now, when I don't have the latest CPU. Some games is gonna drop in some parts. Some games I'm not gonna even be able to touch 120 because some games are very demanding on the CPU. But it is definitely a lot more realistic. And let me tell you, yes, it is not very bright. When you turn on this feature, you lose a lot of brightness. So basically, you are trading motion clarity for brightness. So you're trading brightness for motion clarity. And some people might be bothered by the flickering. But let me tell you, I cannot say, oh, impossible. There's no way anyone in the world would be bothered by this flickering because I cannot see it at all. At 100 FPS, it works too. So you get 100 FPS or 120. There's no way you will see any flickering, even with a full white screen. I cannot see any flickering. But that doesn't mean that you cannot see it, because flickering perception depends on the person. And the Blurbusters chief told me that. Okay, there is not a human threshold where we can say, okay, this is not going to flicker at all. There's no way anyone in the world would see flickering. Okay, some people might be bothered by the slight PWM behavior that OLEDs have. They are supposed to be flickerless, but they do have a very slight PWM behavior. I cannot see it, and it's impossible you're gonna see it, but you might feel the eye strain. It might be bothersome to some people. Actually, I have to say, the other difference that I can definitely tell coming from QD OLED right now to this LG C1 is the eye strain. When I see a full white screen on this LG C1, it is nasty. My eyes don't like it at all, okay? That doesn't happen to me with plasma technology. It doesn't happen to me with QD OLED, even when QD OLED are significantly brighter. For example, this 360 Hz QD OLED monitor is 250 nits full screen. This LG C1 is 150 nits. That's a significant difference. This is a lot nastier to my eyes. A lot nastier. And actually, I like to use blue light killer settings on this LG C1 even when it looks kind of messed up, because my eyes just don't like it. That's the thing. But here's the thing. When I do this, my God, this is just perfection. In motion at this speed, it just looks perfect. It looks like if it was not moving at all. Like there's no blur. Of course, if you move the camera faster, yes, there's a little bit of blur, but it is still clear enough. So basically, I have a controller at the maximum speed that the controller can move the camera in this game. It is perfectly clear. Not perfectly clear, but I can see everything. Let's say if there was a text on the game, I would be able to read it, no problem. It might be a little bit blurry, so it wouldn't be like a 1 pixel motion blur, because this is faster than 360 pixels per second. But I would be able to read it. So this 4K OLED perfect blacks and fantastic motion, this combination right now is unobtainable at this screen size, at this resolution. Because yes, you can get over 240 hertz with 1440p monitors that are a lot smaller. But we don't have 4K 360 hertz OLEDs yet. Definitely not at 48 inches. And you can get an LG C1 G1 that's even 77 inch. Again, Not the best HDR, not the best colors, not even close to the best screen uniformity, white balance, but the combination, the whole package. If you appreciate motion clarity, this is so good, man. Oh man, I wish Samsung. You know what? We already got a Samsung contact. And yes, I want to get monitors, TVs, even soundbars, Samsung stuff. I want to get that for review because it's gonna be good for the channel. To give you my take, I want to try 8K and all of that goodness. But one of my main purposes is to be able to be listened by these companies. If we get a contact, and I'm not sure yet if this contact would be influential when it comes to, you know, making things happen with changes. I don't know if this contact would take my feedback and then deliver that to Samsung. I'm not sure. Or maybe the contact can do that, but then Samsung's not gonna do anything. But one of my main goals reaching out to these companies is to hopefully help to change things in the direction that I want because I think it's the best. If Samsung listen to my, they have such an easy win. They have an incredible potential with these QD OLED displays. Just imagine right now, imagine S95F QD OLED panel with a glossy finish, no one connect box, no broken sound. Imagine Game Motion Plus, which is low latency motion interpolation than Samsung TVs have, which is very, very good. So you go from like 60 FPS to like 120. Well, imagine that Samsung goes to 180 Hertz, for example. That's not impossible at all. They could easily do 180 Hertz and beyond. So I'm not even asking 240 for now. Let's say they do 180. They improve Game Motion Plus to go from 60 FPS by 3 all the way to 180. That would be awesome, right? Well, let's say that's not possible. Let's say that they go from 60 FPS to 120 with Game Motion Plus, which works very, very well. I love the feature on my S90D and my S90C TVs. So let's say they do that. That's good. So you get full HDR brightness and it looks a lot better than 60. From 60 FPS to 120, there's a big, big difference that everyone can see very, very clearly. Now imagine that on top of that, Samsung implements something like this. Now we're talking, okay? Because now you go from looking like 60 FPS to looking like 300 plus. And it could be even better because the brighter the display is, the more you can trade that brightness for motion clarity. And when you go to 120 FPS, you can be even more aggressive with the technology because the flickering perception goes to, I mean, almost no one would notice that difference. And the reason why this feature doesn't have a lot of acceptance and people wanting to have this feature is because how many people can play games at 120 FPS rock solid? How many people have tried this feature on the LG C1 with a high-end gaming PC? Not many. So most people tried this on their TV, maybe on the console. The console 60 FPS, it drops below 60, and then at 60 it flickers and nobody likes it. If you can go from 60 FPS in your console to 120, people like it a lot. Then on top of that, you get this feature to go from 120 looking like 360, and now you go from a console-like experience to a high-end PC-like experience. That is such a huge selling point. It will be a no-brainer. If Samsung implements that, it's done. Done. And I guarantee you, people would absolutely adore that feature. And there's no way you would buy any other TV. No way. It's not even, it wouldn't be even close. So it is a shame. So yeah, the thing is, learn to appreciate and enjoy what your display can do the best. They all have strengths and weaknesses, but I have to say, even when the LG C1 is not superior in any other way to my QD OLEDs, this setup, this combination, it is just perfection. Okay, it's perfection. Yes, it's not as bright. Yes, the colors are not as good as QD OLED, but it is bright enough. I am using Reno DX HDR in this game. Again, how many people have played this game with this mod to see how good it looks? The highlight details that you get, it's just absolutely insane. You get more detail than what this game offered. So again, not a lot of people have seen this, but I'm looking at right now. It's just next level. And this doesn't have anything to do with the 5090. You can get this Reno DX HDR mod working on any GPU, and the performance impact is next to nothing. 1 or 2 frames. It doesn't even matter. So this gives you a lot more details on the highlights, and you have a bunch of settings. So with these settings available, with the Reno DX HDR mod, I can easily compensate by the brightness loss and the gamma. So basically you get much more darker, near black detail. Well, I can just fix that here. I just increase the shadow detail, done. You want a more colorful, you increase the colors. You want an overall, brighter look, you can do that too. Easy. So I'm telling you, this is some next level stuff, and I wish we could get this on every single game, with every single display. And it would be possible. Just these companies, they just don't know. They just don't know about this. They don't know the potential. They think people don't like this because, of course, if you offer a messed up implementation or people don't have the means to try it, then of course. But yeah, this is absolutely incredible. So yes, in my opinion, in 2025, the LG C1, G1 are the best displays you can get for PC gaming. Why? Because of this. Now, if you're not gonna use this feature, of course, it's not even close. We have a lot brighter TVs, much better technology with QD OLED. But this specific configuration, this setup, for me, it gives me the best balance. You have the resolution of 4K, you have the motion clarity of a 360 hertz display, and I only need 120. Okay, so now you might think, well, why don't you just keep the LG C1 as your main monitor? Well, I'm thinking about it. I already swapped the Panasonic Plasma TV. I swapped that for the C1. But of course, the family is not very happy with that swap. The Plasma looks great, but of course, the black levels are not even close, and it is a smaller 42-inch TV. But the thing is, I cannot get enough of these. And one day I want to enjoy HDR, so I go with a big QD OLED TV. Another day I want to enjoy the speed. I go 360 hertz QD OLED monitor. And another day I want to have both the clarity of 4K and the motion clarity, the sharpness of 4K and the motion clarity of 360. And that combination, it's like an in-between. It's not the best HDR, the best colors. It's not the fastest, but it's in between. And I think this is the best. Okay, so let's leave it there, man. Hopefully the channel grows. Hopefully I can get these companies to listen. They can do a lot better. The reason why they don't do better is because they don't want. Okay, they are spoon feeding us the tech. I know they can do a lot better. We could easily have a 360 hertz 4K QD OLED TV today, glossy, everything I want. But they are not gonna do that, because what are they going to sell you next year? They are spoon feeding you the tech. Okay, you got 120. Okay, now 144. Now 165. Hopefully we jump to 200. That is the next evolution, or hopefully 240 would be perfect. But we are going from 8 milliseconds of persistence at 120, then we go 7 at 144 hertz, then we go 6 milliseconds of persistence at 165 hertz, then the next one will be 5 milliseconds of persistence. So you get that with 200 hertz. So next year, I hope we get at least 200 hertz for the TVs. Then 240, that will be 4 milliseconds of persistence, and then we have to jump from 240 to 360 to get 3 milliseconds of persistence, then 480 hertz, we get 2 milliseconds of persistence, and then finally 1000 hertz, we get 1 millisecond of persistence, and yes, we need it even better than that. We need, for 4K, we need at least 4000 hertz, 4000 FPS. And you might think that's impossible, but it will absolutely happen, because yes, we need it. Now, on TVs, I don't know. But on monitors, I think it will absolutely happen. The thing is, TVs to watch low FPS content, they might not do it. Because it will be just a PC thing. So let me know your thoughts and opinions. What I'm going to do, I will do a next video. I'm going to update the firmware of this LG C1, because it has been a long time. So I might do the firmware update video in real time, and then we can talk about it, about firmware updates. I also have to update the firmware on my S90D and also on my S90C. So I have to update the firmware on all the TVs. So I'm not sure if I will do that, all of them in a single video, or maybe do one video per each. And yeah, let's leave it there. Let me know your thoughts and opinions, and if you have any questions.